All right, let's get into it. Today we're tackling a question that, can feel pretty intimidating, but it's absolutely essential for accountability. What do you actually do when the people meant to protect and serve are the ones who cross a line? We're going to break the whole thing down step by step.
It's a situation you hope you're never in, but it happens. An interaction with law enforcement just feels wrong, maybe unjust or even illegal. And you're left thinking, is there anything I can even do about this? The answer is yes. And this explainer is going to be your guide to understanding that process from the very beginning to the very end.
So where do we even begin? Well, first things first. Before you can even think about filing a complaint, you have to understand what legally counts as misconduct. It's not just about a bad day or a bad attitude. We're talking about specific, defined violations.
Okay, so police misconduct, it sounds like a big, formal legal term, right? But all it really means is an action by an officer that breaks the rules. That could be their own department's internal policies, your constitutional rights, or even actual criminal laws. It's the umbrella term for any action that falls outside of what's considered lawful and proper policing.
And this is where that big definition gets really clear. We're talking about real-world stuff. Things like excessive force, that's a classic Fourth Amendment violation, or racial profiling, which can violate the 14th Amendment. It could be an unlawful arrest, or an officer lying on a report. And here's a big one a lot of people don't know about. It's also misconduct for an officer to see another officer breaking the rules and do nothing to stop it. These aren't just feelings, they're very specific, actionable offenses.
Okay, so you've thought about what happened, and you believe it might fit the definition of misconduct. What's next? The next phase is all about preparation, because a strong complaint, it's always built on a solid foundation of evidence.
And listen, if there is just one thing you remember from this whole explainer, let it be this: document everything. I mean everything. As soon as you possibly can, write it all down. Your memory is going to fade, details will get fuzzy, but notes, pictures, recordings, they are incredibly powerful. This one step might just be the most important part of the entire process.
Think of yourself as an investigator putting together a case file. Step 1, get the basics down. The who, what, when, where. Write out the story of exactly what happened while it's fresh. Step 2, identify the officers, name, badge number, even what they looked like. And, so important, which agency they work for. Is it the city police, the county sheriff? Step 3, gather any hard proof you have. Photos, videos, medical bills if you were injured, repair estimates if property was damaged. And finally, step 4, witnesses. If anyone else saw what happened, get their name and number. An independent account can make a huge difference.
All right, you've done your homework, you've got your notes, you've got your evidence, you've built your case. So now what? Well, now we get to the main event, actually filing the official complaint. Where you go, and how do you do it? Let's break it down.
So where do you even send this thing? Generally, you've got two main paths. The most common one is the department's own internal affairs division. These are police officers whose job is to investigate other police officers. But some cities have a second option, a civilian oversight or review board. This is a separate, independent group of citizens, not cops, that looks into complaints. If your city has one, it's designed to provide a more impartial review since it's outside the police chain of command.
Okay, so how do you physically get it to them? Well, departments have made this a lot easier over the years. As you can see, filing online is the most common way now. But you can absolutely still go to the station in person, you can mail it in, and some places even have a dedicated phone hotline. The key is to use the official channels that the agency provides.
All right, so let's just pull all that together. Where can you file? First stop is always the law enforcement agency that the officer works for. If your town has one, you can also go to the Civilian Oversight Board. But what if this feels bigger, like a violation of your fundamental federal rights? Well, you can go bigger too. You can file a complaint directly with the U.S. Department of Justice, the DOJ, through their Civil Rights Division. You can even contact your local FBI office. They have the power to investigate state and local officers, not just federal agents.
You hit send or dropped it in the mail. You've done your part. But now, what happens? This next part is all about the process, what the investigation actually looks like, and, let's be honest, managing your expectations for the road ahead.
The process usually follows a pretty clear timeline.
As soon as it's filed, your complaint gets logged and you'll get a case number. Hold on to that number. It's how you'll track everything. Then the real investigation kicks off. They'll interview you, the officers involved, any witnesses, and go over all the evidence. This part takes time. Think 30 to 90 days, sometimes even longer. And the whole thing wraps up when the agency issues an official finding.
And at the end of that investigation, you're going to get one of these 4 official outcomes. It's really important to know what these words mean. Sustained is what you're hoping for. It means they found enough evidence to back up your complaint. Not sustained is kind of a neutral result. They couldn't find enough evidence to prove it or disprove it. Unfounded means their investigation led them to believe the event didn't happen the way you said it did. And finally, exonerated means, yes, the incident happened, but they decided the officer's actions were legal and followed policy. Knowing this lingo is key to understanding the result you get back.
Okay, this brings us to our final and maybe most important section. What are your rights through all of this? And what can you do if the outcome isn't what you'd hoped? Let's talk about what happens next.
This is so crucial to remember. You have a right to do this. The First Amendment to the Constitution protects your right to complain about the government, and that includes police officers. It's illegal for anyone to retaliate against you for filing a legitimate complaint. I know this whole process can feel intimidating, but you need to know that the law is on your side here.
So let's say you get a result that just feels wrong. Is that it? Is it over? No way. An unsatisfactory finding does not have to be the end of the road. You still have options. A lot of agencies actually have a formal appeals process. You can and probably should talk to a civil rights attorney about a potential lawsuit. You can reach out to advocacy groups like the ACLU or the NAACP for help and resources. And, like we said before, you can always take your case to the federal level if you believe a larger systemic issues at play.
At the end of the day, filing a complaint does 2 things. On one hand, it's about seeking justice for what happened to you. But it also does something else. It creates a record. It becomes a data point. A single complaint might seem small, but when hundreds or thousands of people file them, those data points create an undeniable picture of a problem. They become a demand for change, for new policies, better training, and real reform. So your story, your complaint, it's more than just one incident. It becomes part of that much larger conversation about accountability. It's a truly powerful tool for change. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.